Time is working. I'd go to Goodwill today and get it.
All right, good evening. I'd like to go ahead and call our January 11th, 2016 meeting to order at 7 o'clock. We'll begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. I'd like to thank everyone also for being here this evening. We'll begin with the approval of minutes from our regular meeting, December 28th, 2015. Are there any additions, omissions, or revisions?
I have none. And I move to adopt the regular meeting minutes of December 18th, 2015.
I second and approve. We'll move on to the administrator's recommendations with Ms. Vogel.
Okay, first we have an oath of office for Trustee Joseph Flanagan.
Greg?
I'm here, sir.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And Greg Brush, sorry about that, our clerk of courts, will be swearing in Mr. Flanagan.
Gentlemen, my name is Greg Brush. I'm the Governor County Clerk of Courts. Why I'm here tonight is I used to be on the board. This is so long ago, I was the clerk. Now I'm the fiscal officer, Mr. Adams currently is. When I started back I was elected in 1999, for folks that might not have been around. I took office in 2000, and Joe was the township administrator at that point. And I came into office, there was a lot of thought about
Okay, next we have an oath of office for Matt Heidenreich. He is beginning another term on the Zoning Commission. Matt Heidenreich, if you could please come up front.
Do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States of America and the Constitution of the State of Ohio. That I will faithfully discharge the duties of a member of the Zoning Commission of Butler Township, Montgomery County, Ohio, to which I have been.
Next, Earl Moyer, if you could please come up front. We have an oath of office for Earl Moyer. He is going to be serving another term on our Board of Zoning Appeals.
I state your name. I, Earl Moyer, do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States of America and the Constitution of the State of Ohio. That I will faithfully discharge the duties of a member of the Board of Zoning Appeals of Butler Township, Montgomery County, Ohio, to which I have been.
Okay, next on the agenda, we have resolution number 16-01, a resolution retaining Wanda L. Carter from the firm of Carter Law LLC. We retain Wanda Carter every year for legal services regarding annexations. So this is just procedural.
Any discussion?
Well, I think Wanda Carter's expertise has been helpful to us in the past, and I'm sure that we're going to need it in the future.
Second.
All right.
Make the motion.
No, I'm sorry, I thought you were making.
Who's this discussing?
All right, I'll make a motion to that effect.
To adopt resolution 16-01.
Yes.
I'll second.
And I approve.
Okay, next on the agenda is resolution number 16-02, a resolution authorizing the acting township administrator to purchase a foam system, pump repair, and various pump reparts for engine 89 in the fire department. This was budgeted for January for these repairs to be made in the amount of $44,200.
Chief, anything else you want to fill in about that?
No, not this time. It was a budgeted item. The system needs repaired and replaced due to the just ongoing maintenance issues.
How old's engine 89?
It's 10, I believe.
Okay.
Anything else?
Nope.
All right, I make a motion to approve resolution 1602.
I second.
And I approve.
Okay, resolution number 16-03 is a resolution accepting the streets in Yorkshire Reserve Plan Development, Sections 1 and 2. This includes stretches of Yorkshire, Northerton Court, Scarborough Court, Cornwallis, and Turtle Shell Drive. So these have been accepted by the County Engineer's Office, and they're ready to be maintained by our township.
I make a resolution to approve number 1603.
I second.
And I approve.
Okay, next on the agenda is appointment of representatives to the the Volunteer Fire Department Fund. I'm sorry. Excuse me. And we just need a chairperson and a secretary to be named on the board.
Okay. I think last year I was doing it. It's something we hope to never use, but would you like to do it, or do you have any preferences?
I had none.
I'll do it. All right. Go ahead and make
No.
Nick.
Need a motion?
Yeah.
Or you just do it?
I was just figure out who was who first. I guess
Who's the chairperson?
Had that be Nick, I guess, then Joe did it.
Joe,
Secretary.
you want to be the secretary?
Fine.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to that effect.
I'll second.
And I approve.
Okay. And then next we have surplus property in the administration department. This is just a old printer and paper folder that needs to be disposed of.
I make a motion to approve.
I second.
And I approve.
Okay, and then last on the agenda, and the administrator's recommendations, is a motion to accept the retirement resignation of Police Chief John Creasy.
So moved.
I second.
And I approve. And thank you very much for your service, Chief. John Creasy was the police chief here not because he needed to be, but because he wanted to be. And that goes to speak to the depth of his character and what he's done during his tenure for Butler Township. I've known a lot of police chiefs through the years, and I have never seen somebody bridge so many relationships and form so many connections with the residents of the township and the business of the township and the chamber and their organizations as I've seen John Creasy do. It's going to be a very sad day when he's not here anymore. Those kind of individuals come along once in a long time, and we're lucky he decided to make Butler Township home, because this job isn't something he wanted to do every day, it's something that he felt, and we're much, much appreciative of it. So, thank you, Chief. Okay, moving on to informal business with the Police Department Chief Creasy.
No report, sir.
Fire Department Chief Ailig.
I have none.
Fiscal Officer Mr. Adams.
No report tonight, please.
Trustees, Mr. Flanagan.
Actually, I do have some. I've given some documents to Mark and asked him to pass these out. I'd like to start off by just saying welcome. This is my first day as a city township trustee at a meeting. It may not seem far from that corner over there to this seat over here, but in reality it's quite a long distance. I'm used to having an agenda that I read and go through and something I can follow. So I've actually prepared something of a short statement that I'd like to talk to you guys about. First of all, I'd like to talk and address the letter that I sent out to the township administrator. That letter, when I sent it out, was meant as a private correspondence between myself and Melissa Pinsey. Someone else took it upon themselves to make it a public document, and in so we have now had 3 weeks of nothing but the township and the front page of the Drummer.
Speak into the mic more.
Is that on?
It's on.
All right.
Talk really close to it.
Okay. Anyway, so we have now had 3 weeks of nothing but the township and the front page and the Drummer on the news media.
It's on. It's got to speak right into it.
Can you hear me now? All right.
Sorry.
We'll try it again. Like I said, long distance from down there to down here. Okay, so why was the letter sent to the administrator asking her to sit down? In my opinion, the township is very similar to a small business. Some of the things that you are being given tonight are parts of the township's budget. If you want to run the township similar to a business, when things go sour in the business community, when goals are not being met, when budgets are floundering, you don't remove the board, you remove the CEO. And in this case, I asked the CEO to step down. I wanted to start the new year in a new direction, and that was my intent. There was certainly nothing personal in this, even though you might have thought so. You may not agree with my methods. I have to tell you, nobody agreed with my methods, to tell you the truth. I'm the only one that seemed to do this. In hindsight, I want to say it may not have been the brightest thing I ever did, but if we hadn't done it then, we would be doing it tonight. So now it's over, and we're going to go in a new direction. Have you guys got that stuff out?
It wasn't nearly enough.
Well, all right. Listen, I'll tell you what. I come to the office every morning, every day. So if you didn't get one of those and you want one, you give me a call at the office, and I will either email it to you fax it to you, or I will get in my car and drive it to your house. I would also recommend at this point that all of you get a hold of the township's budget and look at it. Same thing. You call me. Don't call Erica. She's really busy. She doesn't need you calling her. You call me, and I'll make sure you get a copy of that budget. Let's just go through this real quick, and I swear I'm not going to try to belabor this at all. If you look at the first page, what you have are minutes of September 28th. In here we have the administrator saying the general fund is down $1.1 million, which is 1 year of carryover. We will need to decide what to do, whether to put a levy for the police service on the ballot or cut services. It's in their own report. You move down to the next paragraph. This talks about the road department. The road department will not support the number of employees in the department much longer. She states that the trustees will have to decide whether to put an additional levy on the ballot just to continue services. You've been told over and over again now. I was here when Doug Oring said, don't worry about it. Service department is up to full staffing. Well, they cut the service department from 6 to 3 workers. Of that right now, 2 of those workers are on long-term sick leave. That means you have 1 service worker, 1 supervisor in the service department to take care of the county of our roads. That's 42 miles of roads at 18 square miles of township. Want to move to the next page real quickly. This is actually out of the budget, if you want to look at it. Proposed cash balance in the general fund is $1,053,000. We will no longer be able to transfer money to the police department. What that means is in 2018, with the shortfall, right now we transfer $375,000 last year into that department. You're looking at reducing the police department by 5 individuals. That's 1/3 of the police department. This is not new. What you're going to hear is that the state cut a lot of money to the local jurisdictions. They did. That doesn't mean you don't do anything. We knew these cuts were coming when I was here, when I left. So from the time of 2010 till 2016, very little or nothing has been done to correct that situation. I believe I've spoken with everybody up here, well, I'm sorry, not you 2 guys, about, do you guys have a plan to fix this? And the answer is no. We don't have a plan to fix this. We're moving in that direction with no way out. Here's what I looked at today, that last year there was a transfer from the general fund of $342,000. If you take the average pay of a salary of an officer of around $62,000, including benefits, there could be more, there could be less depending on overtime. You take $340,000, you divide that by $62,000, and you have cut 4.5 officers. You don't cut 4/10 of an officer, that means you're cutting 6 officers. We have not taken any action to correct this situation. What we do is we put out a lot of laudable things. We talk about the wonderful things of Butler Township. It's a great place to live. But if you can't pave your street, oh, I'm sorry. I didn't go on to the next part, which is the paving of the street. So I lost track what page I'm on because I'm gone kind of into an ad-lib instead of following my script. The next page, if you read it, it says, we will need to cut back our paving program to continue to meet payroll. Right now, we're looking at adding a service worker to the service department. We don't really have the money to pay the guy, at least long term. Flip to the next page, if you would. We're way beyond at least 1 year of carryover in this fund. We need an additional levy on the ballot in 2016 to continue to pave roads. I didn't make this up. This is the township's budget. This is the reality of where we are. And the reality of where we are is unless we begin to address these situations, and we address these situations quick, it's going to be upon us in no time. I don't know how to fix this. I mean, as an administrator, that's what my job was, is to make things happen and to make things move forward and to fix issues. The problem is we are at a point that is critical. We are talking about the possibility of having to put 2 large levies back to back on the townships, on the ballot. I'm proposing tonight that the trustees initiate a citizens budget committee. The committee would be made up of, I hope, no more than 5 people, people that are well-versed in dealing with budgets, and then going through the budget, seeing if there's any place we can cut, any place we can save money, anything that we can do that will allow us to continue to operate under our current funding formula. I know that, well, I hope most of you remember the JED-Z that was put on the ballot several years ago. The JED-Z was supposed to save the township from the need to put levies on the ballot. At the time, we were all told it was going to produce $750,000 to $1 million. It's producing less than half of that. When they decided to put the JED-Z on the ballot, they decided to put it on for 1%. They could have put it on for 2%. Now, I've asked them why they put it on for 1%. I'll let them explain that, because the logic behind that is so flawed, I don't even want to repeat it here. The fact is, though, if we would have put it on for 2%, it would have produced over $1 million. And the fact is, we've all been sitting here in tall cotton. In fact, I wouldn't be sitting here at all, because I would have never beat Doug Orange for trustee. The fact is, that thing is producing less than half of what it's supposed to produce, and that is not enough to fund the police department. So we still have to do it out of the general fund. We're running out of money in 2018 to fund it out of the general fund. I don't know what we're going to do at this point. We're at a critical stage in this township when it comes to the budget. And we have to do something, and we have to do something now. We can't wait any longer. Can't kick the can down the road any further. So what I'd like is direct Erica to come up with guidelines, and I'll also be glad to help you with this, to set up a budget commission. I'd like it to be, if no more than 5 people. They could add people as ad hoc members to that as they need them. Then they would report that back to the trustees, and we would certainly report that back to you. And thank you. By the way, again, if you would like a copy of the entire budget or anything that I've given out tonight and you don't have it, contact me tomorrow morning. I'll make sure you get it. Yeah, I get there at 8 o'clock, by the way.
Mr. Bresky.
Yeah, I have one item this evening. Earlier this week, Erica Vogel and I met with Lauren Bowen from the Ohio Treasurer's Office to talk about the online checkbook. The Ohio State Treasurer offers us the ability to put all of our financial information online, all of our budgeting online for the residents to take a look at and view. And I think by having a policy of opening up our checkbook to the people, I think that will be a first step in moving forward and addressing these budget issues. In fact, Lauren was planning on being here tonight, but due to the circumstances, we're going to have her come back at our next meeting. There's no official action that needs to be taken by the trustees regarding this. Erica can begin the work now and begin meeting with the Treasurer's Office and the staff. This is a simple software. It costs us nothing. It works together with the UAN software, which is already being used by our fiscal assistants. So that's the only item I have for tonight.
Okay, thank you. A couple things, several things. Number one, to welcome Mr. Flanagan to the board. Number two, I find it interesting quoting the budget, and yet also with Ms. Lepenzi for a lack of planning and a lack of leadership. This is Kim's budget, and has every line item and every deal from everything we've done from 2009 to today. It's never been a mystery. Mr. Bresky has had it. I've had it. Mr. Flanagan, of course, has it. So we most certainly know the financial condition of the township. Cash on hand in the township right now is about $9.5 million spread across all of our funds. And there's no doubt, because once again, Ms. Lepenzi has brought it up continuously, those are her words that you were quoting, that we're always going to have revenue issues in the police department fund and the road fund. In fact, we go backwards to 2009, for about $1.7 million in the police fund, we paid for 12 cops. Today, $1.7 million pays for 16 because we've made cuts. We've put cops on the street. Even through the JED-Z campaign, while we brought in about $600,000 gross right now, We'd hoped to bring in $750,000. Didn't make it there. Nothing is perfect, unfortunately. But throughout that entire campaign as well, I was emphatic that we'll still need levies in the future. It's not a panacea. It's not a solve-all. We're a township. Property values go down. The economy changes. We have to go back to the residents to see what they want to support in terms of services. And no doubt, and again, in the future, you will see those come on the ballot again. It's how we operate. However, the JED-Z did bring in $600,000 of additional revenue, not on your property tax bill. And that's saying something. Also, looking across the board, we were able to reduce health insurance drastically by having all of our employees for the first time pay towards their premiums. For the first time ever, we had all of our employees pay their own pickups into the pension system. We reduced costs for liability insurance by half. We reduced what we paid for the internet and cell phones, simple things, as a way of cutting things down. The path to our future is not dropping a bomb and not knowing what to do with it. It's having hard conversations and doing things about it, which is what we've been doing. And I'm quite confident we could have continued to do it with the leadership that we had in place. However, unfortunately, that has changed. So we will regroup. And I realize and understand the idea for a budget commission, but in reality, it's quite easy for us to have a workshop and realize what needs to be done. Because the department heads we had in place, Chief Alig's first year, 2010, reduced the salary in the fire department by $400,000 with Kim and Dan at the helm. We started doing preventative maintenance on equipment, getting rid of things we didn't need. Instead of buying a brand new building for $8 million, we renovated 2 buildings for $5 million. Money that doesn't pay for cops, but money that came from leveraging Miller Lane. So sure, is the future crystal clear? No. Is the past clear? Of course it always is. But we have to still go towards the future, and the three of us have to work together to make smart decisions for all of you and what you want. And that's what we will continue to do. One last thing, too. I know with the departure of Chief Creasy, I can't speak enough as far as what he's done internally to the police department. He's brought policy, he's brought procedure, he's brought professionalism, and that's trickled down through his command staff and to the officers. We promoted Chris Guthrie to lieutenant about 6 months ago because Chief Creasy believed in succession planning. He knew he was not going to be here forever, but wanted to have a plan in place for when he was ready to depart that would follow his lead. And that was after a competitive process, Chris Guthrie, which Nick and I helped promote and interview last summer. So we're going to break into executive session to discuss the future of the police department after the hearing from you all. But it's my intention that Chris Guthrie is the acting police chief for Butler Township because he is quite capable, quite seasoned, and just like Chief Creasy, he cares deeply about this community. So that's all I have. Moving on to the hearing of the public. If you have anything to say to address the board, we ask you to come up to the podium. Make sure you're close to the microphone so everyone can hear you. State your name and address.
My name is Pam Geisler. I live at 1770 North County Line Road. That's at the north end of the township. I've been a resident there for 47 years. Didn't just move in. Over 10 years ago, 6 northern township farms chose to have their properties annexed to the City of Union. I won't go over all of our various reasons, but one reason back then was the lack of concern and the cooperation we were getting from the Butler Township Trustees 10 years ago. In the October Vandalia Drummer, there was a quote from the Butler Township Trustees. It frustrates us, but we are cognizant that we have property owners that have property rights and have chosen to leave the township and be annexed to the City of Union. It's unfortunate that we can't all work together up there to make it mutually beneficial to everybody, not just a few. That was 6 farmers. Based on the last few months and the township trustees' actions to dismiss the administrator, to provoke the township police chief's resignation or retirement, it appears the township trustees cannot even work together or be mutually beneficial to their fellow staff, let alone to the property owners up north. Due to how One Ohio legislation was written and passed, we have been double billed for fire, police, and EMS by both the City of Union and Butler Township. Just for Butler Township fire, police, and EMS, we have paid dearly in our property taxes, from $8,000 to $16,000 alone. That's to Butler Township only, not to the City of Union. Butler Township does not provide the services to us. When we need the services, they are only provided by the City of Union. We vote on all of the levies for the City of Union. The northern annexed residents have never been able to vote on Butler Township levies for the fire, police, or EMS. That, my friends, is taxation without representation. We met in August with Representative Mike Henney. We finally testified in December before the House Committee in Columbus for House Bill 302. If passed, this should correct this problem, and we will pay only to the City of Union, who gives us our services, not to Butler Township any longer. One thing that could have corrected this issue years ago was rejected by the Butler Township trustees when they were invited to meet and work with the City of Union to consider the fairness to the property owners, the 6 farms. They refused. They would not meet with the City of Union, showing that they continued the lack of concern for the property owners. In one article from the fall election debate, Trustee Orange stated taxes on the township residents have not been raised in 9 years. Depends on how you look at raised. Our property taxes are based on the value of our appraisals of our property. From 2012 to 2014, our fire and EMS went from $368 to Butler Township to $1,282. That's only for Butler Township, not the City of Union. So this is an increase to me. I know that they may feel there's no increase. You people haven't had any bond issues on for 9 years. It is an increase when our properties go up. The amount we pay goes up. Over the years, the township continues to waste the taxpayers' funds. From the same fall election debate article, we now see Flanagan's views on how to waste funds. He proposed that we should use the residents now to raise the funds to create legal challenges to any of the new development by the City of Union. He is so focused on the development with the City of Union and the city manager, John Applegate, that he stated next time he moves dirt, he's going to be sued. We may still lose the case, but the word will get out. I would propose the township trustees, who are all part-time, I believe, focus on your township, not the City of Union's property and their residents' choices. Then Township Trustee Orange admitted in the One Drummer article, for the last 15 to 17 years, we've spent hundreds of thousands of dollars in legal fees related to the City of Union's fight, for the township to fight the City of Union's annexations. The bottom line, we cannot stop annexation, Orange said. I don't see that changing anything in the near future. We'll change that because The township does not have the authority to stop an annexation under Ohio law. I could go on with quotes from the Butler Township Trustees, but enough is enough. I am pretty much fed up with all that has happened in regards to the waste and the focus of the trustees on the City of Union, and I think all of you should be too. The property owners up there made a lawful decision to leave the township, go to the City of Union. I think at this point, you're just wanting to see your quotes in the paper, which I have seen over and over again since last fall. Waste the taxpayers' funds and admit how all of this is for nothing. Perhaps all elected officials need to remember you're working for the people, you, elected you. You're spending their funds, not your funds. I went to the city because they offer what a township never can. They focus on the best for those who live in their boundaries. They listen to the property owners. They have a true vision, not one that comes and goes with each township trustee. Last of all, I really wish the township the best of luck in 2016. It doesn't appear that it's starting off too good for your staff. Pam Geisler, resident of City of Union. Sir, I thank you for your service over the years. I have partaken of those.
Thank you. Please state your name and address, and we'll try to keep it just under a couple minutes, too, please.
This is going to be very brief.
Thank you.
My name is Beverly Kaiser. I live at 7309 McSmith Court, right around the corner. When I came in, I was clear out in the hall. I suggest you spend the money on a PA system that covers everybody who wants to be here. That's my contribution for the evening. I think that would be a very wise choice.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And I hope we can say thank you.
Anyone else?
My name is Christine Hawley, and I live at 6761 Trailview Drive. I've been a resident of the township for 35-plus years, and I'm also a retired psychiatric mental health nurse, so I've had a lot of experience with dealing with crisis and emergencies and staying calm and steady until issues are resolved. What's happened in the township since December has gotten me to the point where I'm upset, I'm angry, I'm embarrassed for the township, and I'm not at all happy with what's happening. I object to the way the township administrator was treated and forced to resign. I object to the police chief's treatment and his resignation. I object to the idea of having the sheriff's department replace our excellent police department. I object to the idea that every employee of the township is now worried about whether or not they will have a job to continue. I object to the idea that the focus of the township will be on the development of Miller Lane, which has already cost the township money, aggravation, excessive police time spent there, and an increased crime rate. The trustees are elected to represent the people of the township, first and foremost, not their own personal agendas and vendettas, political ambitions, or potential financial gain. I hope that the population of the township will not sit back and let the township be hijacked and sold to the highest bidder. You may think that we, the residents, can't stop you from what you do, but we will be watching, remembering, and planning for the future.
Mr. Mayor?
My name is Dick Penrod. I live at 3272 Green Turtle Drive. Very well said, ma'am. Thank you. One more question about the police department. I would like to know what the average response time is in Harrison Township, covered by the Sheriff's Department, compared to what we have here. I understand ours is between 5 and 6 minutes for life-involved situations. I've placed several phone calls to Harrison Township, to their administrator, to ask about the Sheriff's Department there and how they respond. I have not yet heard back from them. But in your consideration, you might, again, think about the people. Closest one's Harrison Township, 25, 30,000 people. I don't know how many police officers per person. We have 16 officers, 10, 11,000 people. You would add that out. The police presence is fantastic at CMU. Wave to them. We live in a great place, good people, and why do we have to change it? If it's purely financial, then you have to prove that to us. Thank you very much.
Good evening. My name's John Ellis. I live at 6212 Woodville. I've lived in Butler Township for about 30 years. Earlier tonight, Mr. Flanagan, you mentioned that the administrator's job is to, quote, make things happen. And I wanted to congratulate you because thanks to your tenure here already, you've made things happen. This is the most people I've ever seen in this room at any point in time. So I wanted to thank you for that. The next person I want to thank is you, sir. He's been a huge help when I had some problems with some elderly neighbors, and not only him, but I think I've dealt with every single one of you in uniform in this room. I think our police department is great, and I wanted to second what you said, sir. I'd like to have that under local control. This one gentleman just asked a question about what the response time is in Harrison Township, and I don't know if it's appropriate, but we do have the Montgomery County Sheriff in the room. Can you answer that question, sir? All right. All right, that's fine, and I appreciate that. I appreciate that, and I hope you do come up. But anyhow, again, Mr. Flanagan, I'll be calling you tomorrow morning. I'd like to not only get a copy of what you handed out, but also your prepared remarks. And I'd just like to know what the deal is. I wasn't aware of these problems when you were running. I voted for you, Nick. I voted for you, and frankly, I regret having done both. Thank you.
My name's Beth Cooper. I live at 7649 Painted Turtle Drive, and what I'm about to say at the very beginning might be repeat for those of you who have attended a few meetings in the recent past. I started a neighborhood watch in the Turtle Creek, Yorkshire Reserve area back in 2013. The history of that is my husband went out to the shed to do some yard work, and the padlock had been cut off, and they took our chainsaw. But the joke's on them because the chainsaw didn't have a chain, so it's all right. But it was a violation. Even though it was in my backyard, it wasn't my house, it was unnerving to think someone went through our stuff and took junk that we really didn't want. But they took our junk. And so really I contacted Chief Creasy, and it was not with a noble intent. I'll be very honest with you. I had no noble intentions. My intentions were, you give me advice on how to make that not happen again. I'll share it with my surrounding neighbors, the ones who touch my yard. Okay, I was going to include the people across the creek who connect to my backyard. And that was it. But I emailed Chief Creasy back in June of 2013. Within 2 hours, he had emailed me back and said, we are concerned, the police department is concerned about Turtle Creek as well. You're not the only one. And so within 2 hours, he emailed me back. And then within 3 days, we had a meeting. And in under a month, we packed the other township hall with 120 people. Okay? So from non-noble intentions, we made some pretty big things happen. Crime has gone down in our neighborhood. And as a secondary piece, we've become much more neighborly. We know each other now. Okay? And that was because we worked together. I want to thank you, because you came to every regular meeting that we had for our neighborhood watch. You were more than a liaison between the residents and the police department. You became our friend. And I really want to thank you for that. Now, when Kim resigned, there's been a lot of communication with me, and people have said, well, if there was a clean record, if she was innocent, why did she leave? Which is a fair enough question, and I mean, I can speculate. I can give you my theories. Maybe if we go to Submarine House, but I can give you my theories if you're interested. But I hate to think that your retirement has any cloud of doubt or anything that people can speculate on. So, in your own words, would you just tell the residents the theory behind why you feel compelled to retire, please?
You may.
In early December of last year, Ms. Lipinski received a letter advising her to either resign by the end of the year or be fired at the first of the year. I've worked with Mrs. Lipinski for 3.5 years, and I know her to be a very efficient and very caring person toward the best interest of the township. I feel, I feel as if she left under a cloud, as Beth just said. She left. She had a choice, leave or be fired. And she was served a letter with vague accusations, vague allegations, and no substance that she could defend herself. I was also heard that first, Ms. Lipinski was going to get a letter advising her to resign or be fired. And the next step was to find a new police chief. I have a 34-year career in law enforcement. I have an outstanding reputation in the law enforcement community. And what I don't want is I don't want to be served a letter with vague accusations and allegations that I can't defend myself against, knowing that 2 of the 3 trustees on the board are going to vote for me to be fired. I'm a certificated officer in the state of Ohio, and to fire me, there must be a hearing before the Board of Trustees. So if I were served a letter with vague accusations and allegations, I would be forced to defend myself. So I would be here for the next 4, 5, 6 months, defending myself against allegations, knowing at the end there would be a vote of 2 of the 3 trustees, and I would be cut loose anyway. So what I chose to do, regretfully, was to go ahead and leave under my own terms. I felt it was necessary for myself, for my reputation, and mostly for my family and friends that I leave standing up. So with that, that's about as easily as I can sum it up. Thank you.
Are we allowed to talk about the articles that came out in the Drummer today?
Just keep it brief, please.
Okay. Is the proposal to appoint Streck as the interim chief as we get a new chief in, or is the plan to replace our police department with the Montgomery County Sheriff's Department? What's this article? I'm confused.
I'll answer that question.
Thank you.
I think it's real hasty to just go and contract with the Sheriff's Department because of a police chief's retirement. That would be unwise, ill-advised, and I think that any option to change our police department, our policing services, has to be reviewed. I mean, it would be a 6-month process to do it right. And I would never advocate for completely contracting out our services unless, number one, we are able to put at least the same amount of officers on the road as we have now. Number two, to continue the neighborhood watches because they have been very effective. They have been the highlight of Chief Creasy's administration. And quite frankly, they've been a big success because of all the work of the people that are in this room. And number three, the financial input. And the reason, and I'll be very honest, this is something I brought up when I ran for office, the potential of looking into contracting with the Sheriff's Department. We have to make tough financial decisions in the future. The money's not increasing. okay? And the last thing I want to do is burden the taxpayers with more issues for them to vote on and more coming out of their pocket. It doesn't matter whether it's a property tax. It doesn't matter whether it's a Jet Z. I want no increases, okay? Because everybody's paying large federal taxes, large state taxes, and the taxes that you pay to the township are just added on top of that. So it's only prudent that we look at every option for our department. With that being said, I'm never going to give away our department unless whomever we contract with can provide the same quality. I know everyone is here tonight because you like the work that our department has done. But the blunt reality is that we need to deal with our financial circumstances. And I believe in market economics, I believe in free markets, and I believe in lower taxes, and I believe that we need to exhaust all options before I will ever agree to go to the ballot with a tax increase. Finally, I met with the chief this morning. I met with the sheriff this morning, Chief Deputy Streck, and Erica Vogel to discuss a potential plan for the future. There is a lot of confusion among our officers. I know that our employees, not just our officers themselves, but many of the township employees feel caught in the middle of this. And I think the prudent thing to do in the interim is to have someone who's neutral from the outside come in and run our department. I know Lieutenant Guthrie is a very capable person, and I think would make an excellent applicant when we go to hire a permanent chief. But I think at this time, the proper thing to do is to bring somebody in from the outside to handle our department. That's just me, and I had that meeting this morning, but I think that's the most prudent course until this clears up, and I think we really just need to make peace and have the hard discussions that we need to have and move forward.
So 2 questions, and then I'll be done, I promise. Okay. You just said that you will give us months in advance if anything colossal were to happen to our police department. We would be informed. We would know it's on the way.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. And the first thing, whomever we appoint as acting chief tonight, I want them to sit down with you tomorrow. Seriously. And I know you're not the only neighborhood watch here. I want that person to sit down with all the neighborhood watch leaders because I think it has been very successful.
Okay, and how soon are we looking to get a permanent chief assigned?
Well, I think that discussion is going to take place after the public
executive session. Thank you for your time.
I'm not one to speak at these things. My name's Bonnie Wallace, and I live in Turtle Creek. You're saying to save money, you don't want to raise our taxes. Ask us what we want. I would pay more in taxes before I had the sheriff. I don't think we want the sheriff. I think we'll pay extra in taxes. We pay so many taxes now, it isn't funny. It's going through the roof. But if I have to pay more money to keep this department, I will pay. I will give up anything. I do not want the sheriff. And I think, let us have that choice. Not you. Us. Not you.
I'm Judy Mildbrecht, also from Turtle Creek, and I was going to say exactly what she did. I don't like the idea of the 3 of you deciding that we don't want to pay more taxes. Personally, I am more than willing to pay for the kind of services that we have. If we've got to belt tighten, if we've got to raise taxes in order to continue the kind of services that we have, that's reality. That's true of the entire country. And so many of our politician friends are so busy saying we don't want more taxes, we want to reduce taxes. Well, if you want a good school system, if you want a good police department, you have to be willing to pay for them. Cutting taxes is not the answer. Raising taxes is, so that we can continue to have the kind of lives that we want.
My name's Steve Bass. I'm the coordinator for Meeker Creek's Watch program, and the only thing I want to say is, John, thanks. We could not have done it without you or the guys in your department. It just wouldn't have happened, and I just want to say thank you.
My name is Ruth Kistler, and I live at 7500 Turtleback Drive. I'm not even sure where to start here. I know some of this will be repetitive. Joe, yeah, that's in Turtle Creek. And we do have a neighborhood watch group. And we're not a political action committee. And we are residents of this township, and we do count. That's based on a comment you made after the last special meeting in December. You're right. You jumped in here and you raised all kinds of hell and caused all kinds of commotion. And I think some of it you may not have wanted. It's okay to take action. It's okay to make changes if they're necessary. But some of these things are just beyond, I just can't fathom, and they are just so embarrassing to the residents of this township. Whether that letter you sent was private or not, I don't know that you had the authority to send that and make those kind of accusations and statements. You weren't in office yet. This was, 30 days after you'd been elected? You sent this letter? And then it goes on and on about things. And Mr. Brusky, now we're on to you and your statements to the press about you think that $106,000 that was spent to kick Kim out of here was worth it. Is it your $106,000? I don't think so. And then the email thing. Thank you, but there's people want to get out of here. The email thing and the blind copy to Kolodesh. You say you had nothing to hide. You don't blind copy somebody if you don't want people to know that they're getting this information. So I don't want to debate the issue. We all know that that's what happened. You wanted him to get the information. You didn't want anybody else in that chain of emails to know it. Okay? What I want to ask is that we don't have an interim or acting police chief that is outside. I don't see how that solves anything. If anything, we need some stability and the ability to move forward with something that's status quo and not all this upheaval. So I would take Chief Cressy's recommendation that, and I don't recall Guthrie's name, on an interim basis. Why do we need further upheaval at this point? Because you have probably half or more of this township, and I say, when I don't say you, I'm not just talking to you, the board as a whole. You have everybody in an upheaval. You have a woman that her profession is to keep things calm, and you got her madder than hell. So that's my 2 cents worth. And what I would ask is that the trustees, along with other administrative professionals that are part of the township and any committees that you want to form, that you would meet and get together and get your act together and decide how you're going to move this township forward in a responsible manner, both financially and professionally, which could kind of mean keep your mouth shut till you got something important to say. Because this is our home, and we have entrusted you not to promote your own self-agendas or careers, but to do the right thing for the citizens of this township. And the last thing I have to say is thank you, sir.
My name's Jackie Martin, and I live at 1425 Furnace Road. I just want to thank Chief Creasy for all of the help that he has given our little section of the community. I, along with his help, started the Furnace Road Neighborhood Watch. It has brought our neighbors together. We have communication that we never had before. I have heard nothing but good things from my neighbors about his interaction with us, and also about how the police department has been responsive to a few problems that we've had on our road. We aren't having those now, and I think a lot of that has to do with the awareness that our neighbors have of each other, knowing that they have confidence that our police department will be there for them when and if they are needed. So I want to thank Chief Creasy for doing what he's helped to do in our neighborhood, helping to make our neighborhood more vital, more alive, and more aware of one another in the residents in our neighborhood. It's made a big difference. Thank you, sir.
Russ Stippick. My parents moved here in 1956. So I like to say I don't know you yet, Mr. Flanagan. I'm working on my 6th year of coming to all the meetings. I think I missed a handful. Mike can attest to that. And this is I've never seen this room this packed. Sometimes I've sat here by myself in these township meetings. And it's very true, many times. And I've just pointing a question to Mike to give people a little idea of why we have these budget problems. I mean, I've sat through budget, sat through the problems of, last time was the Walmart reducing their value on their building was one big thing. The loss of property taxes because of devaluation. I mean, if you give us some insight on that, I think we're losing track a little bit.
Yeah, no, it's all those things put together, and it's declining revenue over time. And, of course, things get more expensive to do. That's the nature of what it is, unfortunately. It's the cost of doing business. But we have to get together to figure out how we continue to do business and what those paths are. The JED-Z was a step in that right direction, which didn't put a burden on the residents, but we still have to go back to the residents. We're a township. That's how we're funded. That's where our revenue comes from. It's no secret.
And did you have a problem in the beginning with the JED-Z with businesses not paying?
Oh, yeah, for quite a while.
75
Vandalia was chasing down delinquent payments. We're still at 3 businesses that are not paying as of right now.
It's not just a budget problem in the sense of we're spending too much money. It's the money coming in has gone down.
No, I mean, things are more expensive to do. However, it is also declining revenue. That's how business is. And we have to make smart decisions to get through it and see what services the township residents want and then work together to make that happen. Because as everyone said tonight with the chief, it's all about relationship building. And that's what I talked about before. It's the people that he's reached out to and touched in every single different neighborhood in this township. Things that have never, ever, ever happened before. I've never seen this room this packed for any meeting. This meeting hall, the old meeting hall.
The old meeting hall.
It's because everybody here cares. And they want to help make the right decision together. And we need the right people in position to make that happen. And unfortunately, we lost 1 2 weeks ago, and we're losing 1 tonight. But we have work to do, and we're going to still do it. I'll see to it.
I'll also point out that, once again, we've lost at least 3 taxes in funding from the state of Ohio that has been decreased very dramatically. We have not sat around not doing anything. We have
Correct.
Decreased the budget in the township by 30% in the last 2 years. Now, this year it went up again. That's because of the JED-Z and the fact that, we're starting to put more police on the streets, et cetera. So, while I'm not going to sit here and say we haven't been supplementing the police budget, for example, for many, many years, and you folks will remember that we put out 2 police levies that failed. Okay, which is why we went with the JED-Z, because it put the burden of that tax on the area that everybody seemed to object to using the taxes for, and I understand that. So we had put as much of the burden as we can on Miller Lane section, which is where they're using a lot of those assets. So it's not like we've sat back and not done anything. We have worked hard to try to correct the problem, and we are getting there. And the JED-Z is providing more funds as it continues.
And didn't you start with wasn't it the JED?
Correct.
The JED, and then
which was voluntary.
Yeah.
Voluntary, and then that didn't
work.
And the JED-Z was a valid
the JED-Z
issue.
you had to vote on. So you have been trying steps to do that.
Yeah. And we're government. We're not perfect.
True. True.
And hindsight may be 20/20, but you never know that at the time. You still always try to make the right decision, what's best for the residents of the township, period. So, thanks, sir.
And once again, not saying anything negative towards you, Mr. Flanagan. Like I said, I'm on my 6th year of maybe missing a handful. I've never seen you at a meeting.
Sorry to be back, but this has bothered me ever since December. Back when the JED-Z was first introduced on the ballot. Singer Properties and friends along Miller Lane worked really, really hard to make sure that it was defeated. Mailings and telephone calls, there was obviously a lot of money behind it because Miller Lane companies did not want to pay those taxes. And yet, if my understanding is correct, that same group gave Mr. Flanagan a very large contribution towards your campaign. And I think that's sticking in everybody's craw.
It's Mike Bellin. I'm one of the Neighborhood Watch people, and I work with Beth, and we've seen a tremendous improvement since Chief Creasy has been involved with the Neighborhood Watch. He's been in all the meetings that the Neighborhood Watch has had. He's been outstanding. The things that he has done, he's really probably the best of the best. If you want to see a leader, a true leader, this is true leadership. And we are just really disappointing that he's leaving us, because he's provided the fiber, the whole police department brought it together to a working unit. We've had some vandalism in Turtle Creek. Things have settled down. We've become active now and that type of thing. But this is a true leader. You know, I've spent 20 years in the military. This guy is really outstanding.
Connie Jorgen, Green Turtle Drive. My only question to the residents, they're all up in arms about the Sheriff's Department taking over. Nobody said the Sheriff's Department's taking over, but where were all these people, what was it, 10 years ago when Danny Hobbs came in from the Sheriff's Department and was our police chief for how many years and did a very nice job? Nobody was complaining then when someone came in from the Sheriff's Department. Let these people do their job, let things settle down, and go from there. I mean, just calm down right now. Nobody said the Sheriff's Department's taking over.
All right, anybody else? Anybody else want to address the board? All right, let's maintain some decorum. Thank you.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, fellow trustees. My name is Molly Flanagan. I'm Joe Flanagan's daughter. I don't live here, so I won't pretend to understand the issues facing your community or what's most important to you. I just wanted to share with you that I know that my dad ran for this office because he really genuinely cares about this community and wants what's best for this community. And I can tell that everyone in this room, by listening to your comments, actually does want the same thing. You may not agree on exactly how to get there, and that is one of the great things about democracy, is that you have a chance to disagree and a chance to work together to try to find a path forward. And so all I really wanted to say is that I'm proud of my dad, and I know he wants what's best for the community, and I hope that you will keep showing up and will keep being involved in finding that path forward, because I know it's easy to lose momentum and not stay as involved, but it sounds like this is a community that really cares about its future, and I think your future is bright. So thank you.
We're not going to open it up to that right now. So
thank you.
Thank you. All right. Yeah, anyone else? Okay. Seeing nobody else.
Sure.
Oh, I'm sorry. Sheriff Plummer.
Good evening, everybody. Thanks for coming out. First of all, I'd like to thank the chief as well. He's done a good job for us. I also live in this township. Okay, I'm a taxpayer here also. And I want to ask the trustees here. We've got a great township. You know, we have family fights. Let's keep our family fights within these four walls and quit airing our laundry to the media. we're starting to look like other townships that fight and act like fools. We're all here because we're passionate about our townships. We all have homes here. We're invested in our homes. The chief did a good job. I'll give him credit. You guys got a good police department. We're not here to take over. We're here to solve problems and help out, okay? Well, I'm offering my chief deputy on an intern basis so you guys can do a real police chief search. You don't put the highest ranking guy in a department that's still on probation, that isn't proven. You know, just because he's the highest ranking guy, he doesn't get the job. Let's have a true search for a true police chief we're going to keep our department. You know, I ain't going to trash anybody here, like a lot of people are, because I got a lot of inside knowledge of what goes on here. And everything ain't roses. I live on Kirshner Road. We don't have a neighborhood watch. I haven't seen the police chief in my neighborhood. I asked for statistics for crime in my neighborhood. I've got it twice. So he's a great guy, but, you know, Mike Langlob doesn't get all his friends here to trash out Joe Flanagan. There's 100 people in this room. There's 8,000 people in this township. So let's quit playing politics and let's get down to business. Because you're misspending our money. We didn't need road signs. My road sign is perfect. You spend like a drunken sailor. Now we're into branding. We're wasting money on branding. Now come on. Enough's enough. You guys were elected. We all voted for you. Let's get down to business and get our jobs done. And let's provide the services for the taxpayers in this room. Police department, you guys do a good job. If my chief's here for a little while, we're going to raise the bar of professionalism a little higher. That's all I ask. Let's have a professional organization, and let's treat these people with respect. We're not here to take over. We're here to make things better. So, you guys, appreciate you coming out.
Mr. President, if I could respond to that.
You may, Chief.
Okay, I came here in 2012, and things were a little rocky. One of the things that I passed out when you came in the door was a 3-page informational packet of the changes that we've made during the course of the past 3 years. I am proud of this department. These guys have put their heart and soul into making this a professional organization. And I will say the bar is raised pretty goddamn high already.
We are stop.
Well, I guess 2 times with the mic. You guys do have a fine department, like I said. Nobody's here to trash you out. But we can always do better. You got the union officer in this room, your union rep. He knows some of the games that were played. And if you'd like to talk to him, he'll expose it to you. But let's quit trashing each other and raise the bar. That's all we ask for. Chief, good job. Thanks for coming. Thanks for serving us. Have a good life.
Okay, let's maintain decorum, please. Let's maintain decorum. Thank you.
My name is Gil Bauer. I live at 7692 Turtle Creek Drive, and I've lived in the township for 25 years. You can relax. I'm not going to make this too overly personal. You're doing a real nice portrayal of Pompous tonight. So sit back and relax. And you just underlined it with that little sniff. So go ahead and relax. I would ask you, though, to interpret some questions and some citations. I haven't heard anybody suggesting that they were misquoted in either the Drummer or the Dayton paper. Mr. Brusky and I talked about this last week after the special meeting, and I still don't have an answer. When you said, while you were out waving down the media while we were in here talking during the last meeting, what is it you meant when you said you don't listen to that shit? That's what you were quoting in the paper, and when I get done asking, you can answer. What exactly did you mean when you suggested, this is out of sequence, but when you suggested that Turtle Creek residents really aren't residents of the township, that we didn't need, our input wasn't appreciated? You weren't here that night because you weren't in office yet. Mr. Brusky wasn't here that night during that regular meeting, but you were amply represented by the Kolodesh lawyer I forget, Mr. Weekham or whatever his name was. And his bottom line, and he used the words twice, was that your actions prior to coming into office and sending that letter were ill-considered and impetuous. So maybe they'll cut you loose someday. We can't. I understand there's no recall provision. So we'll just watch. I don't care. That's not a threat. That's just the fact that I don't understand. And there's still the very first article I read about this, your quotation that no matter, there was no sense in explaining it because you said, you were quoted as saying, no matter how many times, no matter how I explain it, it'll sound just as squirrely. Now, you know what that amounts to? And I portrayed the choice to Mr. Brusky last week. But I'll rhetorically pose the question to you. Does that mean that you're so stupid that you didn't understand what you were doing? Or are you saying the people of this township are so stupid we couldn't understand whatever you'd like to throw at us? So now, since nobody's suggested they were misquoted, I'll just leave it lay there in a heaping, smelly pile for you, along with the question I posed to his empty chair the last time. How come it never came up during the campaign? A lot of mail I got, a lot of phone calls I got, a lot of glossy stuff I got, including from the sheriff. But I'll just leave the pile with you to answer.
Appreciate that.
Have a ball.
All right. Ready? Please. A lot of rhetoric tonight. A lot of people talking about a lot of stuff here tonight. I'm not sure where exactly we're going to go from here, simply because I haven't heard anybody come up with a plan of where we're going to go. Strip the rhetoric away. Look at the budget. We're in serious shape. I ran on a platform of increasing services to the resident of the township. That's all I have in mind. I said I'm not running for re-election because I'm not a politician. I don't want to have to sit up here and make my decisions based on what's best for my next step in this world. It sure is not going to be a Butler Township trustee. It isn't because I don't like this. I was perfectly happy being retired. I came here because I knew there were a lot of issues that needed to be resolved. I had a lot of experience dealing with this stuff, and I plan on using that experience to try and move this township forward. Look at the budget. Quit listening to what people say. Mike has great oratory. He really does. He can just talk to you and make you feel good. The fact of the matter is, that's not going to put another cop on the street. Right now, you're looking at losing a third of your department by 2018. It's in the budget. Look at it. You may not like it, but that's simply the way it is. Unless we do something now, and I mean right now, to make some changes, it's not going to happen. 3 workers in your service department. That's what you have. I'm not making it up. That's what you got. You got 1 right now because 2 are on extended sick leave. How many cops do you have on the road right now at any one time? 2? With a supervisor? To cover 24 square miles? You happy with that? What I heard when I was out campaigning was, I never see a cop in my street. You say that I said something about Turtle Creek. The fact of the matter is the chief is exactly right. There's 100 of you here. There's 8,000 people in this township I plan on serving, not Turtle Creek. I'll be happy to work. I'll be happy to help you people. Do anything you want. I'll come to your houses. I'll do anything. But I serve 8,000 people, and I'm going to work my damnedest to get you the best services I can. Period.
All right. We need to move along. We need to move along. Russ, we need to move along.
Okay. A suggestion, okay, I'll give you a suggestion. Maybe not use the Montgomery County Sheriff's Office for interim, but why don't we use BCI? Why don't we use the Attorney General? Why don't we use Miami County?
We have one of the best sheriff's departments in the county.
Agree.
He's willing to let us have his chief deputy for free in their interim,
I
we
agree.
get all the resources of the sheriff's office
Okay.
with that move. I don't understand
quick,
why anybody would not want to
Russ,
do that.
I agree.
I've personally called the Attorney General about this.
Yes.
The only person that we can use in a situation in that matter is the county sheriff. I've spoken to the Attorney General, Mike DeWine, about this. The only
We have to use our local sheriff?
we have to use our county sheriff. Or
Absent
we
an
have
internal candidate.
absent an internal candidate.
Okay. All right, but that should answer people's questions.
So, all right. We need to wrap up the hearing of the public. Is there anyone else who has anything to say that's not already spoken? Okay, very well. We appreciate your comments. We have to move into executive session then.
Excuse me, I have no intention of moving into executive session, Nick. I think we can do this right here. You can watch a little making of the sausage. I think we have a motion to make. I think we can move through this and get to the end.
Well, that's fine.
All right.
Well, I mean,
I'm going to
let's-
make the
let's-
motion, and you guys can decide what you
we
want to do.
we've discussed our options.
I don't believe there are any options.
You know that we have two options. We have two options. So
Okay, let's go to the
Make a motion, we'll discuss it.
Let's just go to the options first, real quick.
The options are two. Number one,
I know what the hell they are. Let me finish. I was already talking.
Okay, well, as president of the board, I'd be glad to set the framework, then you can certainly chime in after that.
Wait,
So,
I think I can do this for myself.
well, okay, great. I'm going to do
We
it.
have Lieutenant Guthrie, who right now, thank you. We have Lieutenant Guthrie right now, who is basically a beginning lieutenant. He doesn't have any vast experience as far as being a chief. Would he be considered for that position when in fact we get to that? Probably. That's all I can say at this point. The other person we have is the chief deputy of Montgomery County that can come in here and hopefully reorganize the police department, make it a better department for whoever becomes the chief after that. John Creasy is leaving. We already know that. Whoever comes in here next, we hope that he's going to be a long-term chief that's going to be able to take the department where it is and above that. In this short term, we have to fix the budget and we have to find a new chief. As far as I'm concerned, the only candidate for that is the chief deputy of Montgomery County. Now it's up to you.
Chris was promoted to lieutenant as part of succession planning, although certainly he's not been a lieutenant for as long as 10 or 15 years. He was a sergeant before that and has supervisory experience. More importantly, he has the support of the other core group of officers within the department. And I see right over here already two of our sergeants and the lieutenant and the chief that all believe he has the capabilities to do the job. I have total faith in Chris. I've known him for years. And I think at this juncture it makes sense for stability of not only the police department, but the township as a whole, that he is the interim chief. That doesn't mean he would be selected automatically as the chief in the big game. But right now when it counts, right here inside, he is the right person for the job.
And I don't think hiring anybody from the department at this time guarantees stability. Okay, we've gone through this whole mess. Some may blame me and other elected officials for the uncertainty that's brewing among our employees, among the residents in the township and the staff. But one thing that has happened, and I have been very complimentary of Chief Creasy's service, I have never asked him to resign. I have never introduced any motions to seek his discipline. But there is an instance in his continued approach to the media about this that violates Rule 17 of our professional conduct standards. And by doing that, I think that has only lent to the environment that we have at this time, and I don't think it's appropriate to have a member of our department serve in the interim. So that is why I approached Sheriff Plummer to see if he can help us in this manner. He's offered us as chief deputy, who's handled the internal affairs division of the sheriff's department, a large department. How many employees do you have, Sheriff? 450 employees. How many accreditations does your department have? Okay. So we have a department that, or somebody who's handled a large department, handled internal affairs. And that is why I made that, and that is why I contacted the sheriff. We need to get through this. We need to make peace in our township, and I think it's the right thing to do at this moment. And if I contributed to any of the uncertainty of this environment, I ask for your forgiveness and I apologize, but I do think that it is being promulgated by everybody. I think we need to move on and bring somebody in from the outside who will take a fair look at this. Chief Deputy Streck does not have a dog in this fight, and I think that he'll do a fair job.
Yeah. And this is not about personalities. I've known Rob Streck forever. He's a friend. He's a great cop and a great guy. This is not about that whatsoever. To me, it's what's right internally. And are you talking about the police department's discussion on Facebook on crime on Miller Lane? Is that what your beef is, what you're telling me about?
No, I'm not talking about that.
Okay, I'm not sure what you're talking about.
I'll read Rule 17.
No, I want you what the actual complaint is about the chief is doing, allegedly.
Don't get involved in that. No, I'm not
Okay.
going there, but I will.
So,
I will say that I have, like I said, if I had issues that meant for discipline, I would have brought them forward, and I didn't. And so I never.
But you're bringing it up now?
No, I'm saying his actions in the past week are in violation
the past
of Rule
week.
17. This isn't over his course of being a chief.
Okay.
And I'm not going to get into it any further, but
At this point, I'm just going to make a motion. We're going to move on with this. I make a motion and resolve that the Board of Trustees hereby place John Creasy on paid administrative leave, effective with adoption of this resolution, such leave to be effective until January 19th, 2016. I further move that the appoint Montgomery County Sheriff Chief Deputy Rob Streck as the township's acting police chief until such date as an appointment to the chief's position. As part of this motion, the board hereby directs the township administrator to create a written record of this action under Resolution 1604.
I second.
And I vote against.
Motion's carried. Let's pay the bills and get the hell out of here.
I move to pay the bills.
I move for adjournment.
Okay, we need to let's pay the bills first. Let's get this done right. So I heard a motion to pay the bills. Are you going to second that, Mr. Flanagan?
Yeah, I do.
And then I approve. Are we going to make a motion for adjournment?
Move to adjourn.
Second.
This meeting is adjourned at 8:27 p.m. Thank you for coming. Wow.
I didn't know Rule 17 says that they cannot go to the media. I'll email you a copy of Rule 17. It's of no use because he's retired. We're going to move on, and we have an interim chief. So you're willing to make an accusation?
I don't want anything. I just want to raise
My basis for bringing this up is because I know the term bill is not being promulgated just by elected officials, but it's being promulgated by staff. It's being promulgated by staff.
Okay.
And I think it's inappropriate that we have somebody from the outside.
We have family.
Our department
That'd be great.
interview and have a qualified jury, which may be rejected.
Yeah, get an army. We'll go army. Absolutely.
It's unsettling. Thank you very much.
I think Mr. Flanagan was wrong in saying this letter. I've stated that. I've explained my use of private email, which has been rare. I've explained my use and all of my private emails that I have covered by the public. Or, well, I believe the meeting of the 28th. When I try to log in on my laptop, let's say I'm going to start. The way that John has set it up, I'm just telling you the instances when I used it by experience. Oh, I'm not avoiding tough questions. And can I go off the record? Okay. I think I'm off the record. Can you stop recording? Okay. The way you post your stories on Facebook and I think you're not being fair. I think you're being biased.
I'm just a beat up old retired guy.
The headlines that you write.
You can't make me put a tie and a suit on anymore.
I think they're biased, and I think you're driving social media as active in the next. Trust me, I do this for a profession, and I think you're using social media. Okay.
But anyway, so with dial,
I guess it's closed right at, you know, most times we never find out what happened.
I referenced the rule in order to establish. Under the sheriff, under the representative, and I'm not saying I'm copying the contract. I'm saying under the internal sheriff's department. I meant.
soon as I say go.
Go, please.